Hello YouTube, apologies for my absence. I've been a bit lazy, I apologise. Some of you have contacted me or I've seen you in person and you said please do some lessons. Here we are. Thank you for waiting. Today's lesson is Spanish guitar cheat codes. One of my students said that term to me. I really liked the term. It's basically the most simple and effective things I can show you to instantly make your guitar have a little bit of that Spanish guitar feel. Suitable for beginners, and at the end of the lesson I'm going to show you something a little bit more advanced that I use a lot in my own playing. So if everything I'm showing you is a bit basic or you've learnt it from me before, that's fine. Go to the end, there's something I've never talked about before. And if you're new here, welcome. Let's play a bit of Spanish guitar, or a bit of Spanish sounding guitar at least. We're going to start with an E major chord. In itself that can actually sound very Spanish, and even just the da-da-da triplet, be a nice way of playing. Make sure you hit the guitar with a bit of force. So it's not, we're not doing some gentle little, it's a powerful open strum. Now that's a cool sound in itself. To make it even cooler, what we're going to do is use our pinky finger and put it on the 3rd fret of the D string, which creates a horrible / beautiful dissonance. That F note doesn't really belong in an E chord, usually. But when we put it in, it gives us that beautiful Spanish sound. Bit of trivia, you can hear that sound at the start of the Metallica song, Battery. There's a little Spanish guitar piece at the start of Battery by Metallica. They're pretty much just doing that. So that's our first cheat code, going from an E chord to putting that F note in. And then you can alternate between them. You can do little riffs or melodies. And you can go to the open D string. So just with that open D, 2nd fret, 3rd fret, whilst holding an E chord, there's a whole bunch going on there. Exactly the same thing applies to an A minor chord. I'm just holding the A minor chord, my pinky's playing the 3rd fret of the G string this time. Other Spanish quick one just popped into mind, if it's not obvious, and maybe it isn't. We're playing without a plectrum. I often do play with a pick, but if we're trying to sound more Spanish, we're not going to use a pick, we're going to use our hands. I have other videos on hand technique, finger picking technique, things like that, but I just thought I'd quickly mention that. As I said, today's video is really just kind of a hodgepodge of ideas, but hopefully they're all relevant. Another really nice Spanish guitar sound, so that was the A minor. A major. Now, most of my life I played an A major chord like this. That's how I was taught to play it, with 3 fingers. When I was playing my Beatles and my Doors songs in my high school years, that was perfectly adequate and fine and good. I still play it like that a lot, but if you play it with 1 finger, kind of bar, and in this case we're basically just going to ignore the high E string, because if you bar, you're playing that 2nd fret note of the high E string. That doesn't necessarily belong in an A major chord. It makes it kind of like an A major 6. It's actually a bit of like a Django Reinhardt kind of thing. But I basically just ignore the high E string, so I just kind of don't strum it. When I'm strumming, I just kind of aim for the middle of the guitar. Rather than aim for the whole instrument, I just aim for the middle strings. And when we're barring that A chord, our 1st finger can go on the 3rd fret. That's very similar to what we were just doing with the A minor chord. And the pinky can go on the 5th fret. So that's pretty cool. That's a fun thing you can do, and obviously you can alternate between like A minor, A major, E major, and so on. These ideas are all obviously relevant. Let's say a friend comes along and goes, oh, I've written a bit of a song, it's in G major. Immediately you can just go G, take a G note, and the note above it, which in this case is G sharp. It's pretty Spanish, pretty flavorful. If your friend goes, oh, I'm in C major, get a C note. That 2-note combination of a root note and its flatted second, or basically the note directly above it, will give you a really nice little Spanish flavor. Do it in any key, B. So I just go B, C. That's a cool little trick. Now another really great way to make your guitar sound more Spanish, and I admit I left it till far too late in life to start playing with this style, is the capo. So everything we've just done actually sounds even spicier with a capo. The 3rd fret is a nice place to put the capo. Obviously experiment with the frets, of course. Anything I ever teach you, you should experiment with. We're not here to rote learn things. We're here to gain some ideas or inspirations or suggestions, and then you go and you get your guitar and you go and play. So everything we just did, I reckon sounds even cooler with the capo. So that in itself is a great Spanish guitar cheat code. Another one, while we're here, I've just arbitrarily got my capo at the 5th fret. It could be anywhere. E chord, move it up 1 fret without barring. It's a kind of F major 7 flat 5 chord, but I just call it flamenco F. Very Spanish. And we put some nice strumming. That's always good. Go up 2 more frets to a kind of G chord. A lot of fun to be had there. You'll notice my pinky is here hanging free. Whenever you've got a finger hanging free, it can be a really good thing to find some places to put that finger. Some will sound great, some will sound terrible, and some will sound interesting. And we experiment and we find some things. A finger free, and obviously not just in a Spanish context, is that whenever you've got a finger free, same with this A kind of I do. See there, I've got 3 fingers free in this case. So I can do kind of like scale shapes. But whatever situation you're in, see a C chord, obviously I've got the capo, but I'm still playing on a C chord. Finger free. As I said, some will sound good. Some will sound terrible. Some will sound interesting and will be worthy of further musical pursuit. One thing as well with this, like kind of just like moving random fingers around, sort of. One way you can think about it is you are literally just putting your fingers in new spots and seeing how it sounds. That's totally valid. Another way is using a bit of music theory and trying to identify, okay, I'm playing a major chord and now my pinky's adding in the 7th or the major 7th or an octave or a minor 3rd, whatever it is. So you can approach it from a slightly more theoretical perspective, try and figure out what interesting chord you're making. That's good. Or you can do it completely by ear and completely by touch and feel and experimentation. That's also good. I do a combination of both in my own playing. It's all good. We all have our style and we're all here to learn and improve. Now, I promise for those of you who have followed my lessons for a while, who may have known some of those things I just showed, that I would show something new that I've definitely not shared before. And really all I'm going to show you is I find it a really effective technique to combine. And look guys, if I've lost you here, if this next part of the video starts to get a bit advanced or technical for you, my apologies. This is for the slightly more advanced students. If I'm getting out of your depth here, no worries, you've already got your value from the lesson. Turn it off, grab your guitar, go practice what you learned earlier. If you're still with me, basically in E, we'll often do a Phrygian, E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E. No sharps or flats. And we'll often do like a Phrygian dominant, which is exactly the same, but with the G sharp note. E, F, G sharp. That's pretty much my go-to Spanish sound with the G sharp. Or on one string, which I often do it. 0, 1, 4, 5, 7, 8, 10, 12. I often combine that with the Phrygian, the 0, 1, 3. So the only difference is that 3rd fret note or the 4th fret note, which in E is either the minor 3rd or the major 3rd. But I find there's some really great results to be had from combining them. So from an E chord, And definitely in my experience, it's quite rare, because usually when we're playing music, we've either got a minor third or a major third, which is quite clearly identified in the song, and it's quite clearly adhered to, generally. So combining them is quite unorthodox, and when I started to discover that it definitely sounded good to my ears, I was quite surprised, but it definitely works. So I just really encourage you, and obviously we can do it with the capo. Capo's makes everything sound a bit cooler, as I said earlier. So if I just go like E, F, G, and then E, F, G sharp. Sometimes I go all the way up to A. And I'm working on a new Calidad song that keeps going up. So I'll stop waffling on there. I hope you guys learnt something today. I thank you for watching, and I will be back soon.